Morning guys, this is Steve and welcome back to my channel. It's another rainy morning here in Auckland. It's about 7:20 a.m. right now and I'm actually on my way to start my new official life, if you like, in New Zealand. So I'm sure you can tell from the video that I'm wearing some kind of a uniform. So it's going to take me about 1 hour to get to my destination. So try and take a guess at what I'm gonna do in the meantime, if you like. I'm gonna fast forward everything so it doesn't take too long for you guys until you find out. So let's get going. Oh my god, that took a long time to get here, and as you can see, the traffic in Auckland is quite terrible. But anyway, we're here right now where I'll be spending the next 2 years of my life at the Ardmore Flying School. I want to be a pilot. You can see airplanes parked here, so hopefully I can fly one of these in a few months. That's my classroom right there, but the class hasn't started yet. I don't think any of my classmates are here just yet. And that's the vending machine. So as you can see, the school itself is not like really huge. It's just this one building here with few classrooms. But this is actually, I think, one of the biggest flying schools in New Zealand. It's called the Ardmore Flying School. They used to have a lot of international students here, but because of COVID, right now the school is a bit empty lah. Alright, it's very windy. I think I'm gonna go inside. I think I'm just gonna go and have a chat with the school admission guy. His name's Rahul. Hello Rahul, morning.
Yes, morning, how you doing? I'm good, how are you?
Yeah, great, too, very excited. Couldn't sleep last night.
Oh wow, look at your classmates are coming too.
Oh, okay. Nice to meet you, man. I'm Steve.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Eric.
Hi.
Morning.
Only the thing, like...
Alright guys, so I just finished my class and man, I haven't studied for the longest time, so I think it's gonna take some time before I can get used to like studying and revising stuff, making notes and whatnot. I think there's gonna be a lot of hard work memorizing and understanding all these new concepts, but I think I'm gonna enjoy it. So we'll see how it goes lah. But for now, I gotta go home and study, man. So that was on Monday and today is Sunday and it's been a really intense week for me. Studying is very difficult. Having to memorize things and study every night, it's just something that I haven't done for a long time. And I just don't think my brain is at the same level anymore, so it's been really tough. And also like having to commute from home to school, that's been really difficult too because the distance is like 50 kilometers away one way. It's been 1 week, but I feel like I've been at that school for months already. So to wrap up my first week at the school, I decided to come to the cemetery to see my dad. So with my dad, I never really had a conversation about me changing my career, mainly because he was too sick to have a conversation at that point. Of course, I still like told him my plans and he was just kind of looking at me and, you know, he wasn't able to say anything. But I would like to believe that he would have been happy with my decision and he would have supported me. To be honest, when I told my family and close friends that I was gonna quit my job, go back to New Zealand and go for the commercial pilot diploma, literally everyone's first response was like, what the hell, like, are you crazy? You know, don't YOLO, like, you're not young anymore, you gotta save money, don't be so selfish. And honestly, a lot of my aunties were treating me like I'm making the dumbest decision in my life. But my dad, I think he would have been happy with my decision. Like, if I think about his life, he also left Korea and his comfortable job when he was a little bit older than me. I think maybe he was about 40 years old, and he came to New Zealand. And I suppose at that point, like, the easiest thing for him to do was to find a job that will just pay the bills. Maybe go and work as a taxi driver or supermarket or, you know, whatever job like. But instead, he actually chose to study. And to be completely honest with you, I hated him for that decision. Because that man, my dad had no income. My mom had to go and work at like sandwich shops and she had to work like all these odd jobs. And we just never had enough money going around. And I remember like there was one school trip that I really wanted to go in my Japanese class that all of my classmates went. And I was like the only one who couldn't go. In fact, I didn't even ask my parents about it because I knew they couldn't afford it. But you know, as I'm getting older, I realized it must have taken a lot of courage for him to do that, to really go for what he wants. And I guess he must have been under a lot of pressure to finish his teaching course on time. You know, it must have been pretty hard work for him. So I'm quite proud of him for putting in all that effort to do something that he wanted to do and find meaning in his new life in New Zealand. And he really enjoyed that job too. Like, teaching was his passion. He really enjoyed it. So since he made a decision like that, I think he'll be quite happy with me kind of doing the same thing and going after something that I want to do in my life. So I'm just gonna go and say hi to him and tell him how the week went. I hope... I was gonna say that I hope I won't get emotional, but yeah, let's go and say hi, make it quick, okay? 아빠 저 왔어요. Alright, so I know it looks a bit shabby right now, and my mom wanted to wait until I came here to make his gravestone because she wanted to be really careful with what we write on the stone, and she was just waiting for me to come back so we can have a family discussion about what to write. 유니폼 어때요? 좀 서큐리티 같지 않아요? 일주일 동안 이거 하느라 힘들어가지고 죽는 줄 알았네 진짜. 아, 이거 공부를 한지 하도 오래돼가지고 이거 하려고 그러니까 힘들어요. 저 와서 공부 열심히 하고 또 나중에 이제 비행하게 되면 안전하게 사고 없게 잘 하라고 아빠가 저기 하늘에서 많이 응원해주고 지켜주세요. 아, 아빠 저 그리고 유튜브에요. 다행히 또 싱가포르에 있는 많은 친구들이랑 많은 사람들이 또 봐줘서, 예, 아빠 아팠을 때도 이분들이 많이 위로해주시고 응원 많이 해줬어요. 아빠 저 이제 가서 공부해야 돼가지고 일주일 동안 열심히 공부하고 다음 주에 올게요. 그러니까 그때까지 잘 쉬고 계시고, 그래도 요즘 좀 날씨가 따뜻해서 다행이네. Hello guys, okay, so that video was taken like 2 weeks ago, which means it's been 3 weeks since I started my school. So today I'm meeting my classmate. His name is Arnold and he'll be going night flying, and I'm going to go on the plane with him, so I'm quite excited about that. But before we do that, I wanted to share with you some of the reasons why I decided to leave my job and start studying in the hopes of becoming an airline pilot one day. And the first thing that I want to clarify is that I didn't leave my last job because I was like very unhappy or miserable or I hated my bosses or anything like that. In fact, it was the exact opposite. My bosses were really like nice and very understanding and very supportive. They paid me very well also. My colleagues were very, very nice. A lot of them I had known for many, many, many years, so they're like very, very good friends. And also my patients were very, very amazing as well. You know, a lot of them were so nice to me and they trusted me to take care of their spine and health, which is something that I was very grateful for and frankly the most satisfying and fulfilling part of my job as well. But what happened over the last few years, right, is that the satisfaction that I got from this job of going into work and seeing people and helping them with their back, neck, lower back pain problems and all these things, for some reason, it just became like less and less and less every day, to the point where I would just come home after work and I would just be there like feeling a bit frustrated and feeling like something is not right and I'm just not in the place that I should be. So in the beginning, like I couldn't quite figure out why I was feeling that way and I thought I was just very stressed. So I tried to look for other ways to like distract myself, find more excitement and happiness in other areas. So I started like traveling more often, started a new hobby, maybe meet new people and go out more and all that. And those things were like fun and exciting in the moment. But when I went back to work, I would go back to square one at the end of the day. So I remember telling myself, okay, Steve, you need to think about why you became a chiropractor in the first place and kind of reignite your passion and then discover the reason why you started this in the first place. And I thought about that. And when I did, I realized that I actually didn't know why I became a chiropractor. Like I remember when I went to uni, the first year I actually wanted to become a medical doctor. And even medical doctor, right, I also don't know why I wanted to do that. Like all I remember is like all my friends who were doing quite well in school, they all wanted to go to the medical school. And my parents, even though they never directly told me to become a medical doctor, they would very often say, oh, you know, Steve, you know, someone's son, his son went to medical school last year. Oh, you know, that boy from church, he went to the dentist school the other day. And I just felt like there's something that I had to do to like make my parents proud of me or something. So basically, I didn't really think much about what I wanted to do. So of course, with that kind of mindset, there's no way you're gonna get into medical school. You know, you have to be someone like who's really determined and passionate about that. But for me, I wasn't. I barely had just enough like grades to get an interview. And my interview was of course very, very short. I don't think they liked me or I was too shy or whatever. So I didn't get in. So at that point, the thing that I should have done is like to slow down and decide what I want in my life, but instead I just rushed into studying something else. What else can I study where I can get like a decent job that I'm not going to be ashamed of and that my parents are going to be kind of proud of? What else can I do? What else can I do without losing any time? And my dad at that point, he happened to see a chiropractor and he was like, oh, hey, Steve, like, why don't you study this thing called chiropractic? You know, I think they're doctors too. So I was like, yeah, okay, that's sounds alright. And 4 years later, I had become a chiropractor. So after that, I came to Singapore. And to be fair, I think chiropractic was right for me in many ways, and I enjoyed most aspects of this job. Again, the most fulfilling part for me was just interacting and seeing like people from all walks of life and seeing their health and life improve through the care that I was providing, and that was really amazing. And I think when my father's health really deteriorated to the point where he was completely wheelchair bound, I really began to wonder about, okay, is this something that I want to do for the next 10, 20, 30 years? And that did not feel very nice or right or something that I wanted to do. I remember reading this question that said, if you knew that in your life you could never fail, like what did you want to do in your life? And for me, my answer to that was like, I want to be a pilot. Because when I was little, I always wanted to become a pilot. That's what I told everybody. Like there was something about airplanes that I thought was just really cool and fascinating. I remember my dad took us on like an overseas trip to Japan when I was very little, when I was like maybe 8, 9 years old. Since then, I just fell in love with airplanes and I wanted to be a pilot. However, somewhere along the way in high school, between meeting my parents' expectations and not wanting to like lose to my friends and being competitive and wanting to make lots of money and be successful, I for some reason decided that the only way to do that was by becoming a medical doctor or something like that. And in my little mind, I thought being a pilot, you wouldn't be able to do any of that. How stupid I was, right? So that's when the thought of potentially like studying flying, it occurred in my mind, and it really kind of solidified and became a real thing during the circuit breaker, because that's when I realized this job that gave me a lot of stability and comfort, even that is not guaranteed, and in life you just never know what's going to happen. And also at that time my father's health got even more worse, so kind of was a wake-up call for me in letting me know that my clock is really ticking as well. So that's when I made the decision to kind of move on and study. Now, of course, making decision, it came at a cost and a sacrifice as well. For me, I don't have a job. I mean, I do have a job, but last week I went to do my 6-hour shift and I saw 0 patient. Yesterday I went for another shift and I saw 1 patient. So basically means I have no income, and seeing my tiny bank balance just get even more tinier and tinier and tinier, that has been super scary. But you know, it's a decision that I made, and when I share this story with my friends or my aunties, they're like, ha, Steve, see, I told you, you're regretting already, right? You know, see, I told you it's not going to be easy. You can't YOLO. You got to be more realistic, and you should just go and ask for your job back. You know, you're regretting right. But for me, I really don't. Because the biggest fear of regret that I have in my life is not about not having enough money to buy a nice car or buy a big house. I mean, those things would be great and it'd be nice to have them, but I don't want my life to be like all about that.
Have you made a lot of money out of your music?
Money? I mean, how much is a lot of money to you?
Yeah, that's a good question. Have you made, say, millions of dollars?
No.
Are you a rich man?
When you mean rich, what you mean?
You have a lot of possessions, a lot of money in the bank?
Position make you rich? I don't have that type of richness. My richness is life, forever.
I think the view today should be quite nice. We're gonna fly around the Auckland city, so I'll share that with you. I also heard that New Zealand government might be opening its borders to tourists starting next year from low-risk countries, and I'm actually very, very hopeful that Singapore will be top of that list. So I'll show you around as much of Auckland and New Zealand as I can before the border opens up again. So yeah, thanks for watching again, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.
Masters?